Welcome, welcome, welcome to this episode of the Heck Yeah Projector Business Podcast, as we like to call it over here. And today I have the beautiful Laetitia Martos with me. And Laetitia is a former private client of mine and splenic projector 5-2 Innocence Motivation. With the throat, the G, and the spleen defined. And why Laetitia is awesome, you will know for yourself in a minute here. But I really wanted to invite her because of her splenic definition and how she has mastered this in the past. So she can talk to you about this more, because so many people who have the spleen, the splenic authority, they don't really always know what to do with it because it's a little bit elusive. And some people like to say it's one of the harder ones to listen to. So welcome, Laetitia. Laetitia is French, and she can say a little bit about herself. You can say a little bit about yourself in a minute too, but I also would love to introduce you because you're just such a wonderful, self-led, very high power and very, I was going to say courageous is the word that comes through, but also determined lady, very good at what she does. And she helps people bring their big dreams into fruition. So you can say a little bit more about what you do and who you work with. And then we'll dive into your splenic authority. How does that sound?
Thank you so much, Alexandra. I'm so excited to speak about this subject because this is a subject of my life and I'm so happy to share it. And I hope it will help so many people and they will know how to do with it, because it is so important and it changed my life forever when I learned how to use this little voice. So I definitely love this subject. And thank you for being there with me.
Yay. Well, thanks for accepting the invitation. So, first of all, I would love to know how how do you use your splenic authority on a daily basis in your business?
I use it every single day and even one time a week. I have a notification on my computer and it says, how did you use your splenic authority this week? And when I receive the notification, I stop everything and I take note of what did I do the week. So in my business, I use it every single day to make decision. And the thing is that the more you listen to it, the more it will be helpful and the more you will be able to listen to it. And this is kind of a very beautiful cycle. And when I was working with you, I did a fun challenge. And this challenge was about 1 month of splenic authority. And I was not deciding anything. I was just asking my splenic authority to say yes or no. And because, I'm a very determined lady, I want to make things happen. I want to do the stuff. I'm working a lot, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not working a lot. I'm working smart, but not a lot. And it felt a bit difficult for me to take my mental off the situation and to take my splenic authority in order to decide some very material thing of my life, And when I did see this challenge, it was so beautiful because at the beginning, the voice was so little, like I could not hear the voice. It was not even, it was a tiny little voice. And I was like, I didn't hear correctly, because sometimes the voice doesn't say what you want her to say, you know? Well, the majority of the time she doesn't say what your mental wants. And it was so good, because for me it was helpful, and it made me connect back to this voice I had for all my childhood, because this voice was already there. And I remember when I did this challenge, I could remember that when I was a student, I had the choice between several beautiful schools, universities here in France. And when I came to one of these universities, the little voice was not little at all. She said, here. And I was like, but this is not the best in the ranking. The city, it's not the best for student life. It wasn't on the paper, it was not the best at all, you know. And then I say, okay, I will listen to the voice. And I have chosen this university, and it changed everything. I met my husband here. I met my best friends there. I had some very beautiful people met and experience, professional experience. So
Where was that?
when
I just want to know.
And it was, you know, I remember exactly where I was when the voice I spoke, because you know this is a real voice. This is not like you thinking you should choose this university, you know. So it was very, oh, my cat is here. So it was very, very beautiful. So when I did the challenge, I remember I connected back to that voice, and I said, okay, I know already this voice. I have already listened to this voice. So I can do it again for my business, and we will see what happens. And yeah, so it was kind of a challenge to listen and to act, because this is very different, listening and daring to do the actions. Because when the voice says, and it happened to me 1 month after we worked together, one client came. This guy was a perfect client, the ideal one, you know, on the paper. And my voice said, no. And I was, oh my God, I received an invitation. And you know, for Projector, it is such a pleasure. And I was with my paper, like really. And I said, well, he is a man. And I was working a lot with men. So he's a man, he's smart, he is working exactly on the thing I work and I help people with, blah, blah. Everything was perfect.
And your voice said no.
And my voice said no. And at this stage, my company was not at the 10K or 20K or 60K per month thing. No. So also my company needed some cash.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember I was on the street and I was speaking in my head with the voice. And I was like, why no? No, why no? No. And like, but on the paper, this is a perfect guy. So I called this guy back and I said, well, I cannot go ahead for this contract because I am helping you to make beautiful things happen. I cannot do it if for me, this is not the case, you know, this is not okay. And he said, okay, let's find another way. So I spoke with my little voice and I tried to do some offers, some proposition to her. And the first thing was, is this client okay? Yes. Is the timing okay? Yes. Okay. And at one stage, I said, is the modality okay? And the modality was 2 hours coaching call per week. And the voice said, no. So this was not about this client. It was about how I offered to work with this client.
Oh.
So I called him back and I offered to do Voxer support. But at this stage, it was not something very common in France, at least, and for this kind of client, neither. So I said, well, this is an application and you can call me, you can give a message and I will answer back, etc. And we did 2 or 3 months together and it was so beautiful. And the modality was perfect, even better than what my mental could have imagined. So one more time, it was perfect.
Oh, and yeah, and this is a perfect example. It's so cool that you're sharing that, because what's most important, what you're saying here is, yes, you can listen to the voice, but the hard thing is to actually do it, right? Because, right, most of the time, why we want to actually go to human design or these modalities is because we are at a place where we want things to go differently.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and then we're like, oh, I have this thing called an authority, and it could help me to be successful, because that's the big reminder for everyone, right? It's like, yes, your authority, when you listen to it and do what it tells you to do, it's going to guide you to success, even if you don't see how or you don't believe it.
Yeah,
That's why it's so
exactly.
important what you did is, like, first of all, how you're training your brain every week, with like, okay, self-reflection, like, how has my authority guided me this week? And what we really need to train our brains with, our minds, who are not made to make decisions, because programmable computer and mostly run by our subconscious and our trauma and wounding and fear. If we let that run our minds, then we have lost, right?
Exactly.
Constantly in the same pudding. But if we let our authority and whatever it is for you, from the body, from our intuition, from our knowing, guide and train our brains, then the minds got, oh, got it. Not this direction anymore. That's still a voice. Like the subconscious and fear will also always be a voice, right? But okay, up front here, 5%, conscious mind. We don't listen to here anymore. Okay, we listen to something else now. And that can be incredibly scary at first, right? So we need to have the tools of nervous system regulation. We need to have a support system network. But over time, if we want to be an entrepreneur, these are the only things that we can take responsibility for, right? It's like training ourselves to reflect, like you did with the university. Like, where in my life have I used this voice before and it was actually perfect and it got me to the beautiful things in my life that I have now? Right? And this is such an important exercise to do, and so cool that you're doing that every single week.
Yeah, I do it, and it reminds me that when I learned about my authority, it said in French, intuition. Okay, intuition, okay, but it was very generic for me, intuition. So I created, I love to create some stuff. So I took a sheet of paper and I put a line, and up was the elements where I had a very beautiful experience. And down where the elements where the experiences were a bit not so comfortable or not so good, even bad. Okay, I did this, and I have seen, okay, bad experience, good, bad, and I did in the timing. So when I was 14, 15, 17, until my age. And it was good because it was the life decision.
Mm.
And then I took all the very good experience I had in my life. Okay, the wow. And I asked myself, how did I take the decision to live this experience? And I have seen that all this experience was from this intuition, which is the splenic authority. And I said, oh my goodness, so I've got this voice forever, of course. And then I could, at this stage, be more confident about the fact to use it in my business, because I am trained, to have like to manage business like 40 years ago. And it was such a good experience because I have so many examples, and I have also some example where I listened to the voice, I heard the voice, but I did not take the actions, or I took the action that my voice was saying not to take.
How did that
In
go?
business, bad. Like bad, not bad for financial results, etc., but bad for my spiritual development, bad for my self-esteem. Well, in reality, bad for my definition of success. Of course.
Do you have an
Okay.
example?
Yeah. I had one lady come in and said, I want to take your program. And it was program and one-to-one follow-up, mastermind. It was a big package, and it was a lot of money. In business, this is always making the balance between there is an opportunity to do business and to make money, and in the other side, what is my decision? And I remember one day you wrote on Instagram or Facebook, accepting the invitation is as important than receiving it. And of course, and this lady told me, I'm super committed, blah, 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 blah. And in reality, I accepted the contract. I think I lost around 6 to 7 months of building my business as I really wanted, because it took me a lot of energy. It took me a lot of self-esteem. And while my self-esteem was decreasing because the client, I was like supporting her like a baby, and I had not enough energy left to build what I wanted to build. And even she was not seeing my value. And, as a projector, if someone, and I am a 2-line, so if someone don't see your value in business, I was like, oh. So I think I lost around 6 to 7 months of building my business by accepting this contract. And to be honest, the voice was there. I heard it. It said no. but I said yes. So there is, yeah, I think there are two stages: listening, hearing, and then the second one is acting. And you can do what you want. You can hear it and do something else. It is okay.
Perfect. Yeah. And sorry, I had a coughing fit. I still have a little bit of a cold, but we should not let ourselves be deterred, right, by the little things. But this is so, so important. And I feel like, especially for people who come into human design for their business, right? And they want to understand it, like, show me the channels, show me the gates, show me all the things, like everything just from here. But what human design is really for is like strategy and authority first, right? And
First. Mm.
and you're not going to get anything really from human design if you're not integrating that part in, and you're just like, oh, I want to know how I can use my Mercury gate for my messaging. But if you can't use your authority, your Mercury gate's not going to do anything for you anyways, right?
Exactly. This is sure thing. And I know about human design for 6 years now. So this is kind of a lot. But anyways, I think the authority, this is the first step. And even 6 years after, I'm still in my journey, because sometimes you're like, but this is the correct client, this is a correct offer, this is, and you didn't stop really to ask your authority. And the splenic voice, we always said, yes, this is intuition, so this is difficult to hear, or this is so easy. It is a little tiny voice that speaks one time. So it is super easy to hear, but it's very difficult when you are not able to hear it because it doesn't speak again. So you have to be very in contact with this voice to let her speak and to let you listen at the same time. But the voice is clear. So when I hear sacral authority, and they're like very proud because they can decide like this, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm a splenic authority, so I can too. Because this is just when the question is asked, you know.
So what do you have to say to these people who say, yeah, but what if it says one thing today and the next thing tomorrow and a different thing tomorrow? So which one should I do?
For me, as I act always in favor of the voice, even if, as I said, sometimes I didn't listen, but the price to pay was very high, so I don't do it anymore. But if the voice said, yes, I do it now. Because when you ask again, the mental or the nervous system is coming in the little meeting, because why would you ask again? If I said, are you angry? Yes or no? Are you in love? Yes or no? Are you happy? Yes or no? And I wouldn't ask you 1 hour after just to be sure. Okay, so if you ask again, it's because you are not comfortable with the answer given by your little voice. And this is, as you said, this is the next stage of building a relation with your nervous system, or having someone to help you, or having tools to manage your fears, your traumas, etc. But this is not about the voice, because if you ask again, it's because you are not confident in the answer she gave.
Yeah.
And when she answers, you the majority of the time you have no clue why she said that. So when she said yes or no, you are like, yes. Yes, why? Yes. And like, okay, so this is a yes. This is like having a little child in your body, and you say, okay, so you said yes, you want to change your mind. So now, what do I do? And then you do what you think could be okay.
Well, and this is the thing, right? With this, any authority is they're going to tell us what we don't want to hear, because otherwise our mind could come up with it, right? We're looking for guidance. We're looking for something new. And then we're like, oh, never mind. I'm like, thanks for the advice, but I'm not going to take it. Thanks so much. See you later. But this is like, and Annalena always says this, my friend, who's also a human design reader, it's like our our authority is here to give us things that are uncomfortable, and the things that are in the zone of unknown, that's what brings us success. That's what brings us the results that we're asking for. Like, we're like, oh, we want to have big business success. We want to have 10 new clients and make $50,000 a month. And your authority is like, okay, so dump that boyfriend. And you're like, what? That's not what I asked you to do.
And and this is so important, because I remember this weekend, so this is very new. I have a friend of mine. She's very smart and very intelligent. She has a very beautiful business here in France. And she told me, I want to multiply per 10 my cash received in 3 years time frame. And I was like, oh my goodness, I want this too. It's a beautiful project, when you are a business owner. And my voice was, nope. And I was like, what? Nope. Yes, we want this also. We want to multiply per 10 our cash in the 3 next years. Nope.
Huh.
And this is not comfortable, because it confronts yourself within the unknown, as you said. Okay, so I'm a business owner. I'm supposed to multiply my cash received, but apparently not. Not like this, or what? And you enter when you listen, and when you are about to act, you listen to the unknown, to the void, because you have to create in this space, you have to create your solution. And nobody will be able to say, well, Alexandra, please, you have to do first step this, second step this. No, there is no roadmap. No, you are alone. And this is the part which is difficult. This is not about listening to the voice, because you listen to the voice for 40, 50 years maybe, but this is to enter the void and the unknown journey. And this unknown journey is maybe 1 hour or 2 days. This is not long, but it is uncomfortable, because you have no roadmap and you're like alone in the jungle, and you have to find a way to go back to yourself.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I love it. I love this relationship that you've developed with your intuition. And has your business grown through it, would you say?
Oh yeah.
Give people some hope.
I remember I had already a beautiful business. I was doing marketing done for you. And I have unschooled my child. Okay. without stopping work. So already at this stage, it was already a bit crazy, you know. So you are an entrepreneur and you are unschooling your child, and how would you do it? But my voice was clear enough. And I was not fearing anything, because as my voice is clear, I just have to act. So now I have a business and I have a child, very young child. Okay. And now what? Now it's a life. We will see, and we will grow this step by step. At the end of this first year of doing business and having my child, I had to minimize my hours approximately for 50%. So before, she was at school and she was working all day long. And from the day to the other, I was working 4 hours per day because she was so little and I couldn't be working with her. So, okay, so I had 4 hours in the night to work. So basically, this is not like 9 hours, 5 days a week. At the end of this year, my sales had doubled.
Oh.
So I was working less, like way less. I had the luck. I was so lucky to have my child with me every day, you know, and I was earning more cash. So my mental was like, oh my goodness, some huge alerts. Why this is happening? Because it shouldn't be happening. So I was like, eh.
Because we listened.
Yeah. And it happened to me 8 months ago. I was having a very beautiful contract with a client I love. And it was a 10K per month contract. Nice. Huge contract, you know. And I had signed this contract for, it was a 3 years contract. And we decided that my husband called stop working because I had this contract, of course. So he stopped working, and one day before he stopped working, I had my intuition saying to leave the contract.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. And it was so clear. It was not like, this is your mind. When you say, oh yeah, I didn't hear the voice, you heard the voice, but you don't want to, you don't want to act. And so I didn't say to my husband, because my husband, he knows me for 20 years. So he knows about the voice, you know. And I was like, okay, so I will take an appointment with my client. And 2 days after my husband was at home, I stopped this contract. And I had nothing to say to my customer, to my client. I said, okay, I feel, because it is a feeling, I feel it is better for us to stop working together, and it's okay. I found someone else, etc. So it was beautifully ended. But it was a 10K per month contract, 10K per month for 3 years. And we were in this contract for 6 months. So it was a long-term contract. Well, 2 years and a half left. I stopped working with this client and I did more, because it was in June, and I earned more than with this client. And this client was a 10K contract because it was a lot of work also. So I worked less from one day to another, and I could take more short-term contracts who were paying more.
So when did you tell your husband?
So I told him, like, just after the meeting.
And what did he say? You're crazy.
He said, look
Shift.
at me. We had said that if I stopped working, it was because you had this contract and it was like the security we had for our family. And I was like, he is so right. He's so right. He's a smart guy. And I was like, yeah, like a child. Yeah, but the voice said to stop working. And I stopped working and with him, and like 1 or 2 months after, I had, I think, 10 or 12 people I didn't know before contacted me saying, I don't know what you have changed in your business, but you are not the same person. And even some friends I have seen who are just friends said to me, something inside you changed. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And I think that the freedom back was something I really needed to expand not my business, but who I am.
Mm.
And it's a journey to expand who I am. My cash received was even higher, but it was just a consequence. So, and this happened like last year. So this is a very new example. But you have to be strong.
You have to be brave. You have to be
Yeah.
courageous. And you have to have that trust in you. That's why coming back to this practice that you said you're doing, like where you are constantly reminding your brain, where did we listen to our authority this week and how did it work out, and journal a little bit, because that's all our minds need so that they don't sabotage us all the time. Oh, yeah. Remember, it worked out when we did that last. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to do it again because it worked out. Okay, got it. And then
Exactly.
it's a long-term thing, right? It's like
Oh, yes.
developing that trust and practicing again and again. And it's not wrong when we fall off. Like I make mind decisions in my business and then I come back, I'm like, what was I thinking? Literally, right? Because I wasn't feeling. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
back.
And also it's okay. And what I have done when I have done my live painting, it was about, okay, how did I make the best decision of my life?
Mm.
And I ask myself after, how did I make the wrong ones?
Oh,
And in general, well, first, I didn't remember. And the second one, it was by fear.
oh, yeah.
By fear. And if you take a decision by fear, it's okay, you can. And I will do it again, I'm sure. But the result of a decision taken by fear cannot be as beautiful as a decision made by trust about yourself.
No matter
And
what
you know,
comes out of it,
yeah.
right? Because then you're really on a journey. Otherwise, you're just trying to keep the matrix going, right? You're just trying to really stabilize something in place, like a coping mechanism so nothing falls apart, right? But that's not a journey, right? And that's not what success is, and that's not where the most magical, beautiful synchronicities happen, right? So
Exactly. And I really think that it's okay to say, well, you know, the voice said to stop this contract, but I'm not okay. I don't feel great about this decision because my human life needs this money, or I'm fearing something, and to take time also to take care of yourself. I stopped this contract because I have 6 years of using human design and my authority. And even if I use it, I am failing because I'm giving example tonight about it. So it's a journey. But when you see the consequences of the decision you make, thanks to your spleen, in general, the consequences you have are exactly your definition of success.
Mm. That's so beautiful. That's why I always say there's no need even to learn all of your chart, because if you learn how to follow your intuition or your authority, it's going to lead you exactly to your chart. It's going to be self-explanatory. It's like, oh yeah, of course that happened. Yeah, oh, that's in my chart. No surprise, right?
Exactly. And you can do like the journey in the contrary. Instead of learning everything, you can just listen to your invitation and your authority, and you've got everything. And then you could do your charts just by living your life, you know. And this is so beautiful because for me, for example, in my definition of success, there is no agenda or no time consuming rendezvous meetings. And when my client, my beautiful client, my voice said no, I was like, this is a perfect guy. And in reality, I could never, ever had thought that someone could, at this stage, pay me for Voxer support at this time. Because it was something so new. And he said, oh, well, yeah, this is so good. I love to try new things. And with my agenda is full of appointments, and with my work, so it is perfect. And I was like, oh my God. And it was super freeing because I had one new client, but no appointments.
Perfect.
Like, perfect.
Yeah.
I could have not built it alone, even thought about it. So yeah.
Yeah, I like to think about my authority like as my guiding team, like
Oh yeah.
the advisory team. Like, okay, if I could come up with this shit myself, I wouldn't need you guys, but I'm stuck in here, so you guys help me down there in the body, right? Other
I
people
love
get a
this.
lot of money for an advisory team.
Yeah, and this is so beautiful. And I know that in my family, my husband is a splenic authority as well. And my child, she's an emotional authority. And I speak about it. Sometimes I said, well, my intuition says blah 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 blah. So they know. So this is also a journey of sharing it with your close friends or family. And I remember like 1 week ago, we were at home and we were about to go to do like a little hiking. And my intuition said to take a little arnica, and this is something if you felt. And I was like, okay. I took it, I put it on my pocket, and my child, my daughter, she told me, this is your intuition telling you that I will have something bad happening to me. And I was like, yeah, maybe not, maybe this is daddy. And I put it in my pocket, and it happened.
Who was it, daddy or your daughter?
It was my daughter. It was my daughter. And I was like, she has never felt like never there, never ever so badly. And I think like your advisor team, the more you use it, the more they take responsibility. And
I
they're like,
love it.
okay, I could advise here and there.
I do something similar. I listen when I can too. I don't have an example like that, but I use it a lot for um when I go on lunch breaks, or when I go, like, I need to go food shopping, I'm like, or when I want to go work at a cafe, my intuition tells me exactly where to go. And even if it doesn't make sense, and even if my head's like, oh, but that's like 5 minutes longer to drive, but then what often happens, I meet someone I know. It's like, and someone I haven't seen in a long time, right? It's like it didn't make sense, but you listen and then it made sense.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It's a journey because you learn to hear, then you learn to act, even if you don't have the roadmap before, and even if it's uncomfortable and unknown, and then you do the thing, and then you go back and you see your life as a movie of what happened, and you're like, oh my God.
Totally.
And this is why I put it every week in my agenda, because I need to know, oh yeah, I shouldn't have done this only with my mental. I do it because of the little voice. And
Mm,
I'm like, oh yeah, this was so magical.
mm.
And this is about, 3 step: hearing, acting, and then watching the movie to unfold, like in your experience.
I love that. And I think it's so important because what a lot of people are actually looking for when they're looking for fulfillment in their business more or in their lives is actually that spark of magic that your mind can't get you, right? So even like if nothing changed in life and no results would get any better, except that everything would feel more magical, that alone for me would be a big reason to use my intuition.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and oh yeah, definitely, because I think your mental and your nervous system wants you not to move, because we are okay,
Yeah, but
even if we are bad, and there is
okay. I'm
you know
fine.
I'm fine, and exactly, and the magic is also when you have a little bit of unknown. And this is difficult because in this stage, this is the unknown sometimes appear huge, because if you don't take a little tiny decision, maybe, I don't know, maybe it won't affect a lot. Maybe yes, I don't know. But when you have big decision in business, like not taking, I remember when I stopped working with this client, the day after, someone called me and said, well, I heard about you, blah, 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 blah. And I offer a 10K package. And she went back to me and she said, well, yeah, this is great. Maybe we could do it next month. Okay. And then in the afternoon, I went back to my own offer because I did it myself, and I was like, you know what? You offered this because you are fearing not having any other contracts. But in reality, this client or this one, this is the same. This is just an offer you have built because of your fear of not having enough contract coming. So I called back the lady and I said what I said. I said, okay, I offered this because I was fearing not having any more contract, but I am not the correct person. And I referred out to someone else, and perfect. And she was, oh my God. And it was a very good lesson for her as well. So this is like, I think it's a very good lesson for everybody, even for our children, because they will be able then to listen to their own authority.
Mm.
And this is how we change the world. This is not by doing big changes. This is just by listening to ourselves.
Wow, I love it. I love how you use this guidance for your business and for your service and how much integrity you have. It's just so refreshing. Especially, we won't go into this now because we're going to close the episode for this, but especially since you and I had this talk the other day about the integrity of the industry, right? And so it's really, really important that we check ourselves for integrity and that we are pure and clean and we say when things don't feel right, right? Because we then know that if it's not right for us, it's not right for them. And we
Sure.
trust. And this is just the last thing I wanted to add to this is why it's so important to do nervous system work, because when you have to trust the unknown more, you have to make sure that your nervous system can handle it, right? And so if you're in a space, like Laetitia said, if you sometimes you might, even if your voice says this is not the right contract, but your human says, but I really need this money right now and I can't focus on anything else, because your nervous system might be in a strong state of fear or reaction, then maybe you have to keep it for a while longer and do different work on yourself first. And just remember, okay, my voice advised that. And based on that, I will make some other changes, but I will keep that, right? So you want to just really learn how to trust yourself, but nervous system regulation and the deep inner healing work, it just comes with being an entrepreneur. So,
Oh, yes. I couldn't be more agree with everything. Yeah.
well, is there anything that you would love to share from your heart as we close this conversation?
Yeah, I will say thank you. Thank you for creating this space, Alexandra, because I think it is needed and it will help people in order to make their own decision to create their own beautiful life. And I think that we went after COVID maybe into a little bubble situation. And now I think that people are back on track and want just to be themselves. So thank you for the work that you do.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I want to thank you for being here, for being so open and sharing your heart, and for being brave and courageous as an example for everyone and having fun with it.
Oh, yes.
If you want to find Laetitia on the internet, I will put her Instagram in the video below. Not in the video, below the video, so you can find her. And other than that, thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful to you and your spleen, whether you have it defined or not, but definitely if you have it as an authority. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And we will see you in the next episode. Bye.